The economic trajectory is troubling. What's up, you two people? It is I, the grateful recovering addict, bringing to you another segment of Hypodermically Speaking, Confessions of a Spoon Cooker, part in the recovery. I want to talk to you about my personal debt, financial debt. We're not going to get into the spiritual part of it really at all. We're just going to talk about the financial debt, my financial debt versus the United States trillions of dollar debt. So my debt versus the country's debt. I'm going to give you compare and contrast, similarities, differences, and strategies. Prior to 2019, the biggest debt I had was if I owed somebody maybe $20 for a bag of weed. I would pay them back within the same week, right? Spot me a bag today, I want to burn. I ain't gonna pay till Friday, so I got you. Or, you know what I mean, right? 2019, I racked up a nice debt. Maxed out all my credit cards. Defaulted on a $50,000, $60,000 loan I took. Getting in trouble with the law, so I owed courts, New Jersey surcharge, and one lawsuit. So altogether, it was over $100,000. I think it was in $120,000. It's the biggest debt I've ever had. And these people wanted their monies. If I didn't pay these monies, I wouldn't be here making a video. I'd be in jail, right? They put me in jail for this. And I was told probation, if I'm in jail, I can't pay you guys. So they like the fact that I'm paying them. And I don't like the fact that I'm paying them, but I like the fact that once I pay you off, then I'm free and clear. You leave me alone. We don't have to see each other ever again. We're not doing business. I messed up and I owe you money and I signed papers and it is what it is. I messed up. United States government, a whole different story. They have an army behind them, a navy, military, where somebody wants to collect on a debt. It's not going to be as easy. You come to me, you want a debt, you can serve me with papers, you can send sheriffs to the doors. I ain't going to put that much of a struggle, I racked up the debt with the credit cards because I was in active addiction. I would use my Discover card, buy $2 bottle of ginger ale, you get back $80 cash with the cash back option they had at the time. Now I think they lowered it to $50. And I would do this day after day after day after day because I lost my job. I was collecting unemployment, running out my credit cards. I was working for, I think, part-time somewhere, a few bucks, I don't even know what I was thinking. If I was going to get high, I might as well just stay focused getting high and drunk rather than go out and do all this other stuff, right? But I racked up a huge debt, maxed out my cards quickly, right? Found ways to, turn the credit into drugs, go on the eBay, buy gold, silver, go to the pawn place, sell it for cash on the way to Newark, right? And all the stuff I was accumulating prior to this whole incident. I was stacking silver, I was stacking gold, I had collectible items, things like this, even from my childhood, right? I had things, and that all got sold into get drugs and alcohol, right? So 2019, when I went into detox rehab, I was basically starting less than zero. I had really nothing, but I owed a lot. And I was sitting in the detox those first 2-3 days because I'm all, I don't have the drug in my system. I'm withdrawing pretty bad, and I'm just thinking to myself, the plan, okay, this is not going to be a week fix, a weekend fix. This is not going to be, I'm not going to fix this in a month, in a year. This is going to take some time. It took me less than a year, maybe 6 months of spending uncontrollably that much, plus the other debts, that it's almost going to be 4 years later and I'm not all the way there yet. First year, getting the halfway house, I have a job, making $18 an hour. I'm working there for maybe 6-7 months. I save every dollar, Seeing guys at the house go spend money on whatever they want, which is, if you don't have debt, that's fine. You can do whatever you want. It's your money. But I owe money, so I had to save all this money. I would get word back from my family, this mail, they're sending mail to me. The one smart thing I did is before I went to detox, I met with that resolution program group and signed some paperwork. I was so messed up. I didn't even know if I read it or not. I probably didn't read it. A lady was sitting across from me at Dunkin' Donuts. She drove to meet me at Dunkin' Donuts to bring the packet of paperwork, explain it to me. All I knew at that time was I knew I was in trouble, and I knew they're gonna charge me a lot. They're gonna hit me with a lot of fees, they're gonna make money off me, right? But at that point, I can't argue with nobody. I need their protection, because what happens is they are a solution group where I knew lawsuits and liens were coming in, and I didn't want those to affect the money I would be making down the line, my paychecks to be garnished or worse. So I signed with them, because if anything would come, when it comes, I send it to them, and they step in as an intermediary, and they negotiate on my behalf as to, because they were sending me letters from Superior Court. You got to appear in court. You got to do this. I'm in no state of mind, no position to go into court and just go there just to get told pay them. I already know I got to pay them. But if I get this group involved, they don't have to physically see me. The court, the group steps in. They negotiate on my behalf. It's they do the best they can, but they buy me time. That's what they were doing. Because it's different than, like, I owed PayPal account credit line $1,500. I made a list when I found out how much. Once I came to, I made a list of who I owe, all the creditors, everybody. Made a huge list, and I just crossed them off over the years as I pay them off. For example, PayPal, I owed $1,500. I'd call them up when I had this little few money in my pocket, right? I don't got the $1,500. I got $5. We can't accept that. Next week, do the same thing. Call them. I don't got the 15. I got the $5. Can't accept that. I did this week after week after week. Finally, they agreed. I think it was like maybe 700 something, 800, and 2 payments. So I said, okay, I can do that. So phone recording, they said, okay. First payment was like $300 some that month, and then the next month, same thing. I would call, make the payment. That account was settled and cleared. But the other thing is, you got to understand, let's say you had a credit card, $20,000. You had $20,000 on the credit card. You maxed it out. You went into default. Couldn't pay them. Now you got collections, and even with the credit agency, you call them up. I can't pay the 20, but I can give you 10. Let's say they agree, for sake of argument, for the 10. That's $10,000 you still made out with. You think you make it out with that $10,000? No, but you're gonna have to pay a tax, because that's considered income in the eyes of the IRS and the government and the feds and the tax people. It's gonna be income. So I don't know how much the percent is. I got to find out this season taxes, how much I pay on that. So I pay the $10,000 out of the $20,000 I owed, right? That is settled. They wipe it off my credit report, right? You got to double check. You got to check with the credit bureau and check with them that they report it. Sometimes it takes 3 months more, right? And then find out how much you owe on taxes for the income you received, because that's income. They gave you a credit line of money, right? You used it. You did things with it. United States government's doing the same thing. Is printing all this money, sending it places to people, do all kinds of things that the people don't have a say in the matter, right? And they're racking up a debt and using the people as the collateral. Because if some nations try to come get it, claim it, want it, I want the money now, we lent it to you, give me the money. They're going to say, no, I don't have it, I can't, it's going to cause a problem. And I don't know who is going to come up with a solution. Andrew Jackson, there was a guy, President Andrew Jackson. He, back in 60 something, he paid off the nation's debt. And then around 19 something, the nation racked up its first $1 trillion. So he knew this, but they're trying to dismiss him as a racist and dismiss him as a bunch of other stuff. But he was a guy, financially and in the presidential sense, he knew how to work the economics and get the nation running as a business, right, as it should. And he was able to get rid of the debt at the time. But once he, was gone, it's one big credit card. The United States is one big credit card that the whole world swipes, that's never going to pay back. And then once they go broke with themselves, they're going to come look at us, the country, to claim more money. It's the same thing, like, not to get all political, but like, somebody asks and asks and asks for something they feel they're owed. They get little pieces here and there. Still not enough, because they don't go out and do what they got to do for themselves. Like, see what happened was in the pandemic, right? When the pandemic happened, I got laid off. You're talking about the pandemic. It wasn't a pandemic then, but there was talks in the news and the TV about stuff. I didn't know what was going to happen. All I knew was that I lost my job, but I was saving money. I had like 4Gs saved up cash. So I was like, all right, whatever comes my way, I got to make the 4Gs work. I got sneakers on my feet and a jacket. I can figure this out. 2 hands and 2 legs, right? I got a brain I'm not using. I'm all right. I'll be all right. I'll figure this out. Pandemic hit. People was talking about stimulus checks. I'm like, I never heard such a thing. Then they're saying unemployment, they're going to hit you off with 600 on top. I'm like, all right, I'll believe it when I see it. And I lo and behold, I got hit with that $1,200. And then, because I was laid off, I was eligible to collect unemployment benefits. The only second time in my life I collected it. The first time was in 2019, when I was in active addiction. I lost my job. So all the other years before that, I've always worked. Even if I got laid off or left, I never collected. But the second time I collected, they were giving me on top of that. So I was getting the stimulus money, the pandemic money. I didn't go crazy with that money like some of the guys I saw around me do. Like, they buy food every day, buy all kinds of sneakers and stuff, right? I took that money, put it aside, called up the debt people, found out, the accounts. They have, on my phone, they have a bar chart, all the accounts I owe, the amount I owe, how much they were able to settle it for, and then in progress, how much I'm paying it off at, right? Plus, you look at the details. They have the fees they charge you, all the other stuff. So I could do a total at the end of how much the money I sent to them, because they draft my account every month, how much of that money actually goes paying the debt, and how much in the end they're gonna get, right? But at this point, that's what it is. I only had one lump sum of money. If I had like a big bag of money right now, I could just call them up like, hey, I want to pay it off now. How much? And they just charge me the one fee instead of a monthly fee, right? But that's how they make. That's their bread and butter. That's how they do it. They that's what they do, right? It's like they juice you. So the pandemic, I got the money, paid debts off. A little extra money I had saved. I was investing in stuff. Gold and silver were cheaper at the time. Not really beginning of the pandemic, but it's up and down. Average dollar cost, whatever. But I ended up buying some gold and silver, stacked that away. And that's it. I didn't really go anything. I made some money off the crypto. Don't get me wrong. I was dabbling. I was gambling a little bit. I had my ponies in the crypto market. Got those. Made a few bucks off of here and there. I'm still overall up. Waiting to see what happens with the whole XRP SEC lawsuit thing and see where that goes. But yeah, so today, fast forward to today, 2023, right? January 26, 2023. At this moment in time, out of the $120-some thousand debt I had back in 2019, remember, I didn't start paying it off until about middle of 2020. And even then, my funds are limited. So I started working later on. So 21, 22, and 23. It's maybe 3 years. Let's say 3 years, 100 grand. A lot of people don't even make 100 grand in a year, right? A lot of people only make 50,000 in a year. I got myself down to under $20,000 today in 2 years. Okay, so I was able to, not only from income from work, but also, things were settled. The investments I made, side work, whatever, right? I was able to pay off these monies in almost 2-3 years, and look where I'm at now. So this year, you see the plan where I'm going with. But that's my debt. The money I owe, you know what I mean? See, if I was a scumbag, what I would do is in this house, it's like if I knew someone's getting kicked out, I asked to borrow money from you, because once you get kicked out, I ain't paying you back. Same thing too. It's like, somebody's gonna get fired at work. I asked to borrow money from them because they get fired. They're not allowed back on the property. You know what I mean? But I'm not a scumbag like that. What the government is doing right now, they owe so much money. There's no way it's gonna pay back. If the United States earned $1 a second, it would take almost 1 million years, if you do the math, almost 1 million years to pay back what the debt is right now. So if they got $1 a second, you'd have to wait over 1 million years, because it's interest tacked onto the principal to have that money to be able to pay the debt, and the debt to whoever it needs to go to. 1 million years. So I don't think the United States is going to pay ever. I think it's going to be defaulted. I think the countries, other nations know already, and they're just behind the scenes talking about how they're going to carve up the United States. The United States government, Congress, Senate, those people, the people that make the decisions for us, they already know this. So they have their bunkers underground. They have a backup plan as to, okay, well, the worst case scenario, somebody's going to come here and take a piece of what we got because we owe them. They're preparing for that, so this way they don't have to actually deal with it. They're going to be safe, tucked away somewhere. They're going to deny everything. They're not going to know nothing. They're going to have different IDs and all this other stuff. Or build up like a compound, infrastructure, gun turrets, and defend it. Whatever they want to do. They're setting themselves up, basically, So if you have personal debt, if you owe debt, whether it's, credit cards, loans, whatever, people, pay it off as quick as you can. There's strategies to pay it off, but each strategy is limited to the individual and their situation, because you have to cater to their situation and the person's income. A lot of factors fall into how you're going to go off, but always try to pay off the smallest accounts first, because if you get into a program where you have your account drafted every month, they're going to come hit you every month. It's going to go towards things. You're buying yourself time, but eventually that's more money down the years that you could have had. Any money you get extra, you do some side work, you come into some money, whatever. Find a way to pay off a small account quick, because that will lower the monthly debt draft payment. My draft payments were $1,000 a month. Out of that 1,000, maybe lucky if 600 reached those accounts. The rest the company pocketed. So it was, I had to eat it for the time being. But you could always call them up and say, hey, listen, I came into $1,000. It was my birthday, it was Christmas, whatever. It was Hanukkah, and I want to be able to pay an account off. I noticed I have maybe like $800 left towards this account. Can I make a payment today? How much? They'll say you owe $800 this account, but they'll definitely charge you. So they'll say, okay, you make a payment right now or this week, $1,000, and this account is closed, because they'll take the 1,000, put the 8 towards the account, notify the creditor it's paid off, they got their money, and then they keep pocketed 2 to pay their people. So that's how it works. Same thing, that's how it is. Don't get caught up in those loans and all that stuff. The only thing is you got to remember is if you have debt and you declare bankruptcy, the only time you declare bankruptcy is if you're going to go away for a while. You get locked up in prison or you're going to be hospitalized, because it takes time before all that is kind of wiped. Not really, but you're able to start building credit back again. It takes like 7 years or something. A friend of mine told me to do it, and another friend of mine told me not to do it. I wasn't going to do it. I like to pay my debts. I'm a guy that pays his debts. I'm not going to default on my debts. I'm going to pay you. I borrowed from you. I owe you. I'm going to pay you. Bankruptcy is only good, like I said, if you're going to go away. Because you're going to go away, what are you going to do over there? Might as well fill out that paperwork and let that time pass. So I'm paying off my debts. Bankruptcy is bad because it goes on your file too. They looked at it as a deadbeat. So like, oh, I'm going to lend you money. You're declared bankruptcy. Okay, we'll lend you money, but we're not going to lend you a lot, which you want, but we're going to charge you a lot interest because you're high risk. So I don't want to be in that situation. I want to get this straightened out, get my credit back up. If I was able to take out $60,000 loan back in 2018, I think it was, once I get myself straightened out, we'll see how much more money I can take out and start a business. Because I got plans I want to do. I don't want to work my whole life. But I hope this video made sense. Listen, I'm going to let you guys go. Tune into the next one. My debt versus the United States debt. And we'll talk about other debts and strategies and financial strategies and interests and factors, things that could help people out there. So I'm not trying to bullshit nobody. I'm just telling you from life experience and things I read and things that I've seen work and things I've seen that don't work. You know what I mean? Stories and stuff. So thank you. Enjoy. Have a good day.